record it right now. We're recording it. Um, and I'm live on the radio. So, hey, everybody, welcome to Doc G Presents. And I also have Facebook open too for any comments that people have. I have Helmut and Paul Calabrese here. They're friends of mine and friends of my friend Johnny C, the pizza guy. I want them to introduce themselves, but I do want to introduce them as well. They have done a lot of different things. Of course, Helmut is a composer and does songs. Um, did what's the name of this song here? Hold on. It's called "The Most Beautiful Lady in the World." We're gonna promote that a little bit. We're gonna talk a little bit about that. Obviously, I can't play the song right now, but I can play it after the show's over. So you'll be able to hear it on Smoking Bacon Radio and also HamiltonRadio.net. If you're listening to it on the audio, if you're listening to it on the video, if you're listening to it on any of the voice commands now, Hamilton Radio is now on Alexa, Google, Roku, Siri, and Apple phone. And all you have to do is say, I want to listen to Hamilton Radio, and we're there. Okay, guys, welcome to the show.
Well, thanks for having us.
It's my pleasure. So tell me, Helmut, how you began to be in music, how you got involved in this before this song goes on.
Well, I was in elementary school, and a piano teacher shows up, and he's showing the kids about different instruments, pianos, clarinets, and he said that he's available to teach the students. So I thought this was awesome, and so I went home and I told my mom I want to take piano lessons and I want to learn the piano. So I started to take piano lessons. His name was John Russo.
Mm-hmm.
And I started to do that. And the next thing was that I needed a piano. I can't just practice. So my mother, she got a job and she saved her money and she got me a piano. My dad didn't want to do it. He said it was a waste of time. So thank God for moms. And I was 10 basically. So then I just kept diligently playing the piano every day, practicing 1, 2, 3, 4, sometimes 4 hours.
Mm-hmm.
Because I thought I was going to be a concert pianist. And so you have to practice. That meant like being a baseball player. You got to practice every day for hours. So then, of course, that didn't help my social life. But, what was more important, for me was to be a musician. And
right.
And then I joined the high school band with St. Thomas More in Philadelphia, which closed down after a while. It was a Catholic all-boys high school.
Mm-hmm.
The trombone in the high school band for 3 years. It was a jazz band with the director was, I think his name was Michael I forgot his last name, Michael. Anyway, he was an awesome teacher. Actually, he was a member, would you believe it? He was a member of the Jim Croce band during his college years, and then he decided to become a history language teacher.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so he used to tell us stories about Jim Croce. So that was really cool as a teenager to get stories of Jim Croce when Jim Croce was a big star. And then unfortunately,
Helmut, was he the one that was actually helped writing the songs as well?
I'm not sure because he didn't get into that. He may have helped them. He was a really good musician. I think he was a saxophone player.
Okay.
He was an Italian. Eventually I can remember his name. And we actually recorded a song in the high school. We went to a recording studio and we recorded music.
45.
We made it 45, and it was we played music by the big Chicago, Chicago, the great band Chicago.
I'm friends with Robert Lamb. He's one of the originators of Chicago. Yes, absolutely.
So we played a song from Chicago, I think maybe 2. And I had a trombone solo. Boy, it was so hard. You can't even imagine. I couldn't do it right because you needed to be a virtuoso trombonist. And they had me like this 15-year-old kid trying to play this thing that's played by virtuosos. but I did what I could. So then we put out the 45, and then Thomas More eventually it closed, unfortunately, because they just
Sure.
the high schools were moving to all co-ed kind of things. Then when I got out of when I finished high school, and I kept getting other music teachers, other piano teachers. First was John Russo, there was another, and then eventually the last one was Jerry DiGregorio from Philadelphia.
Yes.
He was an awesome piano teacher. He studied at Temple, and he played for Toscanini, he told me. And he was a super jazz player. He
Nice.
told me he showed me how to play like a lounge piano kind of deal. And so Di Gregorio told me a lot. But then when I got to the point when I went the first year in university, I went to Villanova for a year. And I said, what am I going to do here? There's no music program, right? And I went there for a year because I had free tuition, believe it or not, because my dad was a teacher.
Mhm.
So who gives up free tuition? Nobody, except for me. Why? Because I needed to go to the music school. And where was the music school? It was in Philadelphia, and it was called it had 3 name changes. It was called the Philadelphia Academy of Music, the Philadelphia Musical Academy,
Mhm.
which changed into the Philadelphia College of Performing Arts, and now it's part of the University of the Arts in Philadelphia.
Okay.
So when I went there, I said, you know, I started to write music, and I said, you know something, writing music is a lot more cooler than playing the piano for me. I said, why do I need to just play it? I just can write my own music. So I went there and I studied composition for 4 years straight, you know.
Mhm.
And then went from 1976 to 1980, and I had a couple of teachers, Richard Everill, Theodore Antonio, and Andrew Rudine. By the way, Andrew Rudine he's still with us, and he lives here in New Jersey.
Okay.
And he's he's a very important composer. He was a pioneer in the electronic music field. He was friends.
Okay.
Andrew Rudine was friends with Bob Moog, you know, the Moog synthesizer.
The Moog synthesizer. Okay. Yeah.
So Bob Moog, and he introduced Moog, and Andrew Rudine worked on, I think he's known to have written the very first electronic composition, and had put it out on a record and everything. But he's a very classical music, so he's a very cool guy. And I'm still friends with him. After that, you know, I had my 4-year degree in composition, and I was like totally lost, because what do you do with a 4-year degree in composition, right? I mean,
Right.
You can't look at the newspaper and get here. We need composers. I mean, it doesn't exist in today's society. Maybe it did back when King George was alive. You could work in the court composer, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But not today. So I figured, okay, well, I got to figure this out. So eventually, I went and worked with a family business. My dad got involved with pizza businesses, pizzerias. So I got stuck. I call it being stuck because I didn't have any other way of thinking about it. But I got into the pizza business with my brother, Paul. And we had a place in Pennsylvania for 5 years. And then we came to Seaside Heights. And that was, so in 82, we had
81.
In 1980, I think we opened in 1982.
No, 81 was the first summer.
Okay, he says
The
1980.
summer of 81.
In the summer of 81, we opened a pizzeria. So what happened? Right across the street, 2 weeks later, well, our place was called Roman Pizza. 2 weeks later, Temptations opens up across the street. Now, Temptations turns out to becomes the hottest nightclub on the Jersey Shore. So I went from like never seeing a nightclub to living across the street from one.
Right.
For 30 years or 35 years. So we were known as the place to get pizza after you danced your head off.
Right.
I think I must have served millions of people in all those years. Like,
Yeah, but meanwhile, you got all this other stuff going on musically, right?
well, yeah, because
You're only seasonal.
at that time we were a seasonal pizzeria. So eventually I went to Italy for a couple years, for 2 years, and I studied languages over there. But I knew my heart was always into music. So believe it or not, I thought maybe I should become a lawyer. So I got accepted to a few law schools. And then here I am. And I also got accepted to New York University to go into their composition program, music, PhD, to get a doctorate.
Right.
So I'll never forget the day when I mailed in my letter. I mailed in this letter to to Widener University Law School saying that I wasn't going to go. Now, who does that, right? Nobody, except for me. I said I wasn't going to your law school, even though I really wanted to be a lawyer. And, you can make lots of money as a lawyer, right?
Yeah, yeah. But your heart wasn't in it.
But I couldn't do it. I just knew that if I did that, it wasn't the right thing for me to do. And so I didn't. And then I went to NYU and studied composition for it took me 10 years to get I think, I just made it because you got to get your degree in 10 years.
Right.
Otherwise they tell you they walk you out the door and say, have a nice life. And so thank God I didn't, but I made it right in the nick of time.
Helmut, wait just 1 minute. Paul, what are you doing by now? Now you're also working the pizzeria, or what are you doing on the side of that?
Well, originally, like my brother said, we had this pizzeria in a town called Malvern, Pennsylvania,
Mm-hmm.
from 76 to 1980, and those were our slave years, because my father, who was a professor at Villanova University.
Yeah, you told me that. Yeah.
Not like he worked. He never worked physically, of course. He just rented a store, bought equipment, and put us to work. His family.
Right.
And of course he collected the money and controlled everything.
Right.
And I'll never forget that the first 2 years we worked 7 days a week. We only had 4 days off a year. And then I know it was a real slave driver, right? Because my father told me when I was 16, my father says, your grades, they're no good. Your schooling is over. You're going to work. So I dropped out of high school, and he opened up this store for me to work in for 5 years, right?
Right.
And but by the grace of God, you heard of Jesus, right? Well, Jesus saved me because we were on route. It was almost like a Route 9. There was a lot of businesses, and there was a high school nearby. So this guy comes in from the high school and tells my father that he's a guidance counselor, and he tells him he has a pizzeria too, but it's in Sea Isle City. He only works for in the summertime. So the next summer, my father goes and sees this guy in Sea Isle City. When he comes back, you know what my father says? He says, that guy makes more money than us in 3 months than we do all year.
Yeah. Yep.
We're getting out of here. Now we have to close every Sunday. You know why? Because every Sunday we're doing research. Every Sunday we went from Asbury Park as far south as Dewey Beach, Delaware, to try to find a location so we can go into the seasonal operation. And of course, we found this building in Seaside Heights, which was closed down across from where, unbeknown to us, the summer we opened up, Temptation opened up. And that was a club that was so busy, was on 7 days a week. They had a line to the corner. That's how busy they were. And those people could never get in. There was just not enough room for these people.
Right.
But see now that we were seasonal, I had the whole winter off. And, I took I took the GED. And then I went to college to Westchester University because we had a house in Westchester, Pennsylvania.
Right.
We were living at the time. And so basically, I went to Westchester University. I got a degree in communication. And basically we were only seasonal. So that's why in the off season, my brother first, he went to Sicily to pursue this language degree but he didn't finish. He came back and he decided to go to NYU. And so basically that's what I was doing. I was going to college. We'd all meet in the summertime, and in the wintertime, my father and mother would go to Sicily for the winter because, that's where they originally came from. And they wanted to go back, but it never worked out for them, And my sisters, I have twin sisters, are 10 years younger. When they finished 8th grade here, my father took them along with him and my mother, and they did high school in Sicily.
Okay.
Because basically they bought my mother's house, and the cousins tore it down and built an American style home. but they always wanted to go back to Sicily, you know. But like I said, it never worked out for them. But and now my mother goes back every summer, of course, you know.
Well, of course, I got a couple questions for you. First of all, the name Calabrese, is that short for Calabrese?
Yeah, well, it is. Calabrese is the way you say Calabrese.
Yeah.
Calabrese is the Italian pronunciation. The word derives from the fact that if you come from the region of the boot in Italy, which is called Reggio Calabria,
Mm-hmm.
they say they refer you as a Calabrese, because Calabria, Calabrese,
Mm-hmm.
like Sicily, Siciliano, Sicilia, Siciliano, Calabria, Calabrese, Rome, Romano. You see, Naples, Napolitano. So Calabrese means, that's why many people here many people took Calabrese as their name, I think, because they came from Reggio Calabria, and the immigration guy probably said, oh, he's from Calabria, so Calabrese. Maybe some people took on the name of their region, their province.
Right. Well, that's like with me, because my mother, I believe, was from Bari. Yeah. And my father was from Abruzzi. So I had Buddies and Abruzzes. That's what I was told when I was younger. Now, did you guys get?
Yeah, we understand. Abruzzese, Calabrese, Barese. This is how they do it in Italy.
Yeah. So did you guys do the traditional Sunday dinners, like with the Italian dinners with your family?
Well, when we went, when we used to go, when I was in college, you know how in college you have the Christmas break. So so basically December 21st to January 21st, from 81 to 87, I would go to Sicily during my college break. And of course, like you said, and my mother's sister, she had a house in town, she had a house in the country. And every Sunday, everybody went to the house in the country for the Sunday dinner. There had to be like, I don't even know, 20, 30 people. And it was a great thing over there. See, over here, we didn't do it as much because we had no relatives here. I mean, my mother had a relative in Brooklyn, one in California, but they're not going to drive every Sunday to come to your house.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know. So let's get back to you guys. So all right, so we got all that established. So all right, so when the music started getting into you, Helmut, what inspired you to do a song about Our Lady, the Statue of Liberty? That's the main goal here.
Let me start a piece of it, then he can
go ahead.
Okay, when I was going to Westchester University, at one point I was living in Wilmington, Delaware, which is 30 minutes south of Westchester, Pennsylvania, because I was staying with my cousin. We have these this cousin that that lives in Wilmington, and so he bought this house because he's an attorney, and at the time he would live at home with his mother during the week, but on weekends he bought this house so he can go party and doesn't have to come home at any specific hour. So I hear my brother's going to come over, so I went out and I bought a piano, and I put the piano in my cousin's house, and so that when my brother came over, he would have something to play. So of course, we're in Wilmington, Delaware, and my brother has a piano to play.
So well, I came back from Italy because after 2 years I realized I got to go back and I got to study more music. So I'm in Delaware for a couple of weeks, and Paul's got this piano. So as I'm walking around minding my own business, as I like to say, I start humming this tune. That's what composers do.
Right.
They hum tunes in their head, and they'd walk around parks and forests, and they make things up in their head. Music's like inside of them. So I'm humming a tune, and I say, wow, that sounds good. Let me write it down before I forget it, right? So I get a piece of manuscript paper out, and I start writing down the notes on the piano. That's the old-fashioned way. That's the way it was back then.
Right.
So then I write the tune, which turned out to be the verse, right? An 8-bar verse. And then I come up with, okay, what comes after this? So then I said, okay, here's the chorus. So I write the chorus part, which is the chorus, the melody for the chorus. So the verse is in the minor key and the chorus is in the relative major, like A minor, C major.
Right.
And then I write a little part. I says, okay, well, I think it sounds like we need a break. So I write this little instrumental break. And then I said, okay, let's repeat the chorus. And then I got the whole song done, and I said, wow, this is awesome. And so I start practicing my song and with the chords in the left hand, melody in the right. And I'm playing for about an hour or so. And out of the blue, you know, I get this visual image in my mind, right, of the Statue of Liberty. Like, you ever have something pop into your mind out of nowhere?
Mm-hmm.
So Lady Liberty pops into my mind out of nowhere. Like, and I wasn't drunk or nothing, just in case anybody was thinking, because I don't drink. So I was just playing and I see the Statue of Liberty. And as I'm playing, I say to myself, where in the world does the Statue of Liberty come from? And what does this have to do with this song? And I've never seen the Statue of Liberty in my mind, right, you know, writing a piece of music. So I just intuitively say to myself, you know something? This Statue of Liberty popped into my mind for a reason. Holy Spirit put it into my mind. There's a connection between this song and this Statue of Liberty. And so I said, okay, well, in that case, that's very simple. I'll get my brother. Maybe this is a Statue of Liberty song, right?
Right.
Why not? Because I got all the information from Holy Spirit. And
Beautiful.
And so I said, Paul, when I see Paul, I says, you know something? I'd like you to write the words to this song to be about the Statue of Liberty. And it could be a Statue of Liberty anthem. So he says, okay, because he's up for any kind of challenge. And he's good with writing, you know, that's what he studied in college,
Right.
education. So he spends a few weeks, maybe a month or so researching the statue, about her history. So he comes up with the lyrics to the song based on its historical things that were written about her in history.
Right.
And so he writes all the lyrics and it fit really well. And so here we have it. We have a Statue of Liberty anthem. And we're like approaching basically Christmas time in 1985. I'm just like really happy that I got a new song. Now, what do you think happens after that? I mean, out of nowhere, I start seeing commercials on TV and on the news. The unveiling of the Statue of Liberty in July 1986. So I said, you know what?
100th birthday.
It's the 100th birthday celebration of the rededication ceremony. And it's going to be on Liberty Island with President Reagan and David, I think his name Wolper. He's this big producer from Hollywood.
Right. Mm-hmm.
Putting it together. I said, and I thought in my naive way, my little naivete, as they say, I said, wow, this is awesome. That's why I got this song. Just in time.
Right.
So I said, let's see if we can contact David Wolper, the Hollywood producer, and he can play this song for right there. And so I tried for like January and February, March, and I'm not getting anywhere. Nobody wants to listen to me because I was trying to contact the right people. I mean, I didn't know what I was doing, you know?
It's hard. It's hard when you're trying to, reach out to people and they're not listening to you.
So we didn't have any way. And plus I didn't even have a recording. So what happens? I said, you know what? Maybe we could do something else. Like maybe we should do something ourselves. So I called my friends. We had some friends in Pennsylvania who had a rock band.
Mm-hmm.
So thank God for the rock and rollers. His name is Charlie Parks and his wife Candy.
Mm-hmm.
And now they live in Florida, but they used to live in Feasterville. No,
Okay.
wait,
Phoenixville,
Phoenixville. They have a band.
Pennsylvania.
So I told them I want to record this song. Just make any kind of recording so we could play.
Mhm.
We could show it to people, like,
Absolutely.
we want to make a demo, as they say in the world.
Sure, absolutely.
So he came over to Seaside, and I booked a recording studio. I hired this guy. His name was DiMaggio. He had a recording studio. What was his first name? Anyway, his last name was DiMaggio. He had a studio. It was in Long Branch on Chelsea Avenue, in the basement of somebody's house. The studio was called Odyssey Sound Studio.
Mm-hmm.
Odyssey Sound. It was 1986. And if you're listening, you know, thank God for him. We then recorded the song with I played the keyboard part. Paul sang the song, and Charlie played the guitar and the bass, and he had the drummer. And then I got introduced to like the synthesizer, so I made up a string section, string part. So it sounded really cool. And then we recorded this song, and then while we were there, we did 3 other songs. I actually had another patriotic song that I wrote called America the Great. So I recorded that too. So we had this song, and now I got copies made of The Most Beautiful Lady in the World. And, you know, I think I made like hundreds of copies of these cassettes, you know. I figured, you know, I think it was 500 or 500 of them. So what did we do? Now we had to figure out how to perform this thing somewhere. So then we found out that there was an event. There was this event that was going to happen, well, at Liberty State Park. It was during the summertime, during the July, and it wasn't, of course, the event with Ronald Reagan, with Hollywood. It was this tiny little thing at Liberty State Park called a potpourri for song, music, and dance. The potpourri, and then, so Paul wanted to sing at this event. And this was just a part of the process. So tell them what, we tried to get into the event, but the event was already booked up.
So basically, I call up to try to get my brother and I to go there and sing our song. And I'll never forget, I call up, and I remember that the organizer of the event was a guy named Nick Isolde. So I would call up and I would ask to speak with Nick Isolde, and his secretary said that he's not available. He's out on the grounds or whatever. So I leave my name and my phone number, and she says to me, you know, what is this all about? And I said that my brother and I wrote a song for the Statue of Liberty, and we'd like to sing it. And I'll never forget, you know what she told me?
What did she tell you?
She says, well, you should have thought about this 2 years ago. It's too late. Everything's set in concrete. And I said, okay, I'll hang up. What do you think I do next? I call back, of course, the next day. Guess how many times I called?
I can't imagine.
Gene.
Well, Gene, on the 9th day, you know what happens?
No.
Because every time I call, I want to speak to Nick Isolde, right?
Right.
And of course, he says he's not here, and let me have your name and phone number. Okay. On the 9th time, she explodes on the phone.
She gets real mad, yeah.
She goes, how many times do I have to tell you? How many times do I have to tell you? It's too late. How many times? And then there's a pause because he must have been in the office.
Okay.
But I could hear. He goes, what happened? What's going on? This guy keeps calling. He wants to be put on the program. And I keep telling him it's too late, but he doesn't understand because he keeps calling. What's the matter with this guy? And you know what he tells her? He says, well, you know, we had that cancellation this morning, and we don't have any, you know, why don't we put him in that spot?
Wow.
So persistence.
Yeah, is the key.
And
Nope.
perseverance. If I didn't call for 9 times, if I would have taken no and went home, I would have never sang the song 4th of July weekend at Liberty State Park. You understand?
Yeah, that's
an
amazing story. Amazing story.
And because I sang the song, you know, we were on the front page of certain newspapers because they told us, you know, if you sing your song at Liberty State Park, yeah, then we'll put you on the front page. And like, you know, there was a couple of newspapers, like a couple of local papers where they have our picture, you know, and then, you know, and they tell the story, you know what I'm saying? And so the point there is, you know,
But that doesn't end
there because this is the 1986, and this is the
so what
4th of July weekend. Okay, now Chris will take over.
So that was like a stepping stone.
Interesting story. Go ahead, guys.
I mean, this whole process probably will take my whole life if I ever get to actually see it happen. Maybe somebody else's life will finish it.
No, we'll get it done. Don't worry. I know we'll get it done. Unlike Chris, I'm a positive charge.
So
Chris is a little on the pessimistic side.
No, I'm not pessimistic. I'm a realist.
Okay.
You know, sometimes
I'm a realist too. It's going to happen in our lifetime and soon.
So this,
Well, you already proved that by doing the 9 days, because you know a lot of people would have just gave up the first or second day.
I need to get back out there, and don't worry, it'll happen again.
so
I think you'll make it happen, Paul. Go ahead.
Believe it.
So
Thank you.
that created publicity
Amen.
and press, a little press coverage, and at the same times we started to write to congressmen and senators about this proposal.
Mhm.
I don't think that's many yet. So we started putting the newspaper things on our pizzeria wall,
Right.
and some of the information, like we self-advertise in a pizzeria at Seaside Heights. So one day during that summer, a lady comes, her name is Flora Valdivia, and she comes in with her friend, because they're tourists, right? So they see that, they read about our stuff on the wall, and she said that she has a friend that could maybe help us with this project. So so I said, sure, we'll accept help from whoever it is. So her friend, his name was Bruce Jansen. He comes over, and anyway, he comes over. He works for a very big company in New Jersey. Okay, a very big company. And he said he believes in what we're trying to do. And he said he also found out, by the way, because he was a vice president of this company. He said, we're going to have another event. I don't know if you know about that. And so what happened is that the other event, which we didn't know, was was in October. The following October the 28th, they were going to have a very important event. It was the actual rededication ceremony of the Statue of Liberty on her actual birthday, which is October 28th.
Right.
That event was going to happen right there in Liberty State Park. And he said, I'd like to help you guys get to that event. And I think we could have this song sung by a choir of school children from different ethnic backgrounds. So they organized it. He organized it, and he helped to make another demo of the song to be used at that ceremony, where he wrote a little speech out about how the lady was at the harbor. And the kids were like Spanish people and Asian people, all these different nationalities of people from the middle schools. And it was organized, I think they all met at the Bound Brook Middle School up in Bound Brook, New Jersey.
Correct.
And the lady, and with the choral director, her name was Gloria. I forgot her last name, but I'm very bad with last names now. But Gloria was the choral director, and we went there and we practiced it. And then sure enough, on October the 28th, which was her true birthday, they sang the song to the Statue of Liberty in a big ceremony. And there were dignitaries there from like the French ambassador.
They even had a birthday cake. Right?
They had a birthday cake there. And I could show you, I actually have a videotape that they had made. I have this tape, and he gave it to me. It was the company made it. And they dedicated the song to the Statue of Liberty on her birthday. And so we were the ones who actually were there giving her song on her real birthday. So we created what I considered we were authentically there. I don't know what the right word is, but in other words, we were there on their birthday. We gave they gave the song to her. And so we said, so it was all official as far as we knew. So it's like when a person's born, they only put one date on the birth certificate. So were you there? We were there. We gave her the song. So I realized that this was just a step, in a bigger process, and that I had to figure out what it is, what else, how do you accomplish this task in the first place? Because I never did it before. I don't think anybody else did it before.
Right.
So how do you get an official song for the Statue of Liberty? So after that, I had plenty of months to think about it. And so I realized from what I learned in elementary school, I think you learn most of what you need in elementary school.
Yeah.
I realized that from learning from my history classes, because I love American history and history, they teach American history there at Our Lady of Lourdes in the Catholic school. so I realized that in order to make it official, eventually these things came to my mind. It has to be official. It has to become a law, basically, that this is a Statue of Liberty anthem, the one and only, because it was officially given to her. Now we need to pass it through the House of Representatives, through the Senate. And I kind of started to learn how do you create laws and I started to realize how are these things done. I was becoming a student of political science at the same time, which is kind of cool. So I bought some books and I started to realize where these people are in the House, where they are in the Senate, how do you get in touch with them? And so the next summer, I realized that in order to get their approval, you have to write to them. And things were different back then, sadly, because back then people representatives, they were more prone to listen to people. If you wrote them a letter, they wrote you back. And I've been writing letters recently in this past year, and it's kind of sad, but these people don't write back to you anymore.
Yeah, I know they don't.
And in the span of, I guess, 35 years, it's almost as if they're not listening to the people that they're representing, even if the person's from another state, or even if they're from within the state. Whatever happened to picking up a piece of paper, writing a letter, or getting your secretary to type it and responding to a constituent? He's an American citizen. He lives in that state or some other state.
No, you're absolutely right.
He's got the right to be listened to. He lives here, but back then, thank God, things were different, and politicians, I guess you could call them, they wrote back. Okay.
Right.
So they wrote back, and I started writing to them about what I was doing.
Tell them about Frank Pallone.
So eventually, I said, we need to get a bill introduced a congressional bill. So at the time, Frank Pallone Jr. was a new congressman. Do you know Frank Pallone?
I heard of him. I just brought him up. I'll bring him up again. Go ahead.
Well, we approached Frank Pallone we talked to him about it, what we did, and about the song. We gave him the music, and we gave him some of the stories from the newspaper and some of the letters of endorsement, because we started to get endorsement letters from legislators throughout the state. And so he said eventually that he would introduce this bill. And the very first bill he introduced was in 1989. He did three of them, 1989, 1991, and 1993. The bill was called HR 2776. And he was our congressman, he was in our district, and everything was great. And so for that span of time, since we had a pizzeria, the pizzeria served me really well, because I used the pizzeria to get people to sign a petition.
Yeah.
And I got, believe it or not, and all those in that span of about 10 years, I got 10,000 signatures from tourists from all over the United States.
Beautiful. I probably even signed it too and didn't realize it.
Yeah, because
it was always in Seaside Heights.
If I gave you a slice of pizza, I says, would you mind signing the petition for the Statue of Liberty Anthem? I said, sure, okay. He'd be eating a slice and sign it. And I got so many signatures, and I got the whole book downstairs, So then I said, we got to be a little bit more detailed here, because if a guy comes from Ohio, I started to research if you're from Ohio, and you live in a certain town like Akron, then your congressman is Mr. Sawyer, and you happen to be on the committee that I need, that's where this bill is sitting. So I realized I got to get letters from these guys. Hopefully they'll come into the pizzeria. So believe it or not, people were coming in from Ohio and Indianapolis and Michigan. Everybody goes to Seaside, right? From all over the United States. So I got letters from every state.
Right.
So I would research where they're from, who's their congressman, write them a letter. I mean, this became a job. People don't have any idea how many hours I spent doing this, which I was doing it on my heart because I believed in it,
Mm-hmm.
I figured, well, this is what you have to do if you want to accomplish this. So eventually we were able to get, by writing to all these people and getting their support, endorsement, we did reach up to, and then
62.
we got up to 62 congressmen to co-sponsor a bill. And
Okay,
like, who does that? Two guys.
that's really good. Yeah.
I mean, you got two guys working in the P3N, they get 62 co-sponsors for a congressional bill. And I don't think it's happened before.
Yeah.
And also my brother went down to Washington with a friend. You want to tell him what you did?
Well, basically, you know, when you have these petitions signed, the congressman will say, because the way it happens is, you know, the bill goes into a committee and it sits there.
Mhm.
The chairman of the committee says, I'll bring it out on the floor for a vote after you build up a list of other congressmen that will co-sponsor your bill. And so you call the congressman, he said, well, I'll co-sponsor the bill if my constituents want me to do it. So
Right.
my brother and a friend, first they went from mall to mall, from like New Jersey up to upstate New York. And so we had different letters, different petitions signed. And then I went to Washington, D.C. I made appointments with the congressional aide that handled commemorative bills. And by meeting with these people, and I gave him a copy of the petitions that were signed by his constituents, we were able to get our co-sponsorship list up to 62. The problem is this chairman of that committee, he wanted the list to be much higher.
Higher, yeah, of course.
And we just couldn't afford to keep going around the country and doing this, you know what I'm saying? Because you know, you could have just hired a lobbyist, but you know what the lobbyist told us? We need a retainer of $100,000. Yeah, like we have $100,000 to give you, and there's no guarantees, and we may need more. So you know, so it kind of went on.
No guarantees. I love that.
And we don't have that kind of money. And then what happened with that? Yeah, I mean, you know, they must thought our last name was Rockefeller or something, right? and then what happened after that was
well, first of all, at that time, I sent a package of all this information to the whole, I think it was 450 congressmen. Every single one of them knew about this. They had a demo tape. They had the information.
Right.
This way, it wasn't like they didn't know about it, but you still had to call their office and get the aide's name. This is the way it works. You have to know who the aide is, because it depends on what the issues are.
Mm-hmm.
So we did that for many years, I guess. But then after 93, 94, and then something really bad happens in 90, after 90, I think 95, something that really put like a big stop to everything. And that was our area got redistricted. So they moved Frank Pallone, Congressman Pallone, further north, and he was no longer our representative.
We're in Ocean County.
Because
okay, right.
We were Tom's River. They said, okay, we need the Congressman Pallone moves up to like Monmouth and like Neptune and Asbury or Brielle. But then this area here gets the congressman, I think another congressman, like I think his name was Saxton, Jim Saxton, and then a whole bunch of other people. So we figured, okay, let's try to ask Saxton to help us.
To reintroduce the bill.
Well, that didn't work out so great. Do you remember what he told us?
Well, he didn't believe in commemorative bills, he said. You know, and since Pallone was no longer we were no longer his constituents, he couldn't introduce the bill again. And Saxton told us flat out, you know, he supported us. We had a letter from him, but he doesn't believe in introducing commemorative bills. And so now we're kind of stuck. I mean, if we had the money, we should have just bought a house in Monmouth County, right? And then we could have got the bill reintroduced. We should have had a drive, you know.
Yeah, but see, you didn't know. I mean, you're see, what's funny is you're learning as you're going, and you're trying to navigate through the waters. So you're trying to figure out what do I need to do here, and you're asking for help. But then people are saying, well, we don't do a commemorative bill, so now where do you go?
You go on the back. You go on the back burner.
So we took a pause for a while.
It went on the back burner for a while.
Well, I remember this customer. He says, "When are you going to give up?" Right?
Oh, I love that. I love when people say that to me. And you know, any Italian person I know, when they say, when you're going to give up, I think it makes us stronger. And we say, we're not giving up. We're going to keep moving. And that's what you guys do.
Even our friends, they'll tell us this. Say, man, you waste all this time and money, man. That ain't never going to happen. And, you know, I don't want to argue my friend, so I don't answer them at all. But I don't believe in that. because I've already proven, you know what no means? No means I'm talking to the wrong person.
Right.
I'm going to find the right person that's going to say yes to me. But it's going to be through perseverance and persistence.
Yep.
But if you give up, then it's over. And anyway, but let's fast forward.
Well,
and
there was something else happened then during that time. There was a Desert Storm rally.
Right.
So there was a Desert Storm rally in Seaside. I think it was in February, and the weather was beautiful. But prior to that, I recorded the song a second time. I think it was 1991. I made another recording because and it was a adult contemporary style recording, similar, kind of like the arrangements for Neil Diamond would use, or because that was big in that day, adult contemporary. So
It still is.
So I made an arrangement like that with I got some help from some other musicians, and we did it. We recorded the song in the House of Music up north. There's a famous recording studio that closed. It's called the House of Music.
Yeah.
Famous, a lot. Kool and the Gang recorded their songs there. So we made that recording, and we sang that with that recording on stage with another choir of friends, friends from the Ocean County College, friends from my sisters. And we sang at the Desert Storm Rally where Dick Cheney was there and Pallone was there. This was, I think, 1991. We got some press coverage. We figured we might as well sing the song when we have opportunities to sing it,
Right.
So we did that recording, but that didn't really help us because I thought maybe if I had that recording, I could get a person that was already in the industry, like a Bruce Springsteen or Neil Diamond, somebody that would want to sing this song. And I hired an attorney. His name is Bruce Colfin. He's from New York, and I still have him he's still my friend. He still helps me. And I decided to see if anybody in the industry would be interested in the song. So he sent out this package about this song. I think this was like 1991, 92, and 93. And it turns out that nobody in the industry would want to sing this song. That's the way it is.
Nobody would want to sing. There's dozens of people you could find.
They didn't want to sing.
They didn't want to sing the song.
Maybe because it was patriotic and there was.
It was for whatever reason they couldn't.
Okay, all right.
He must have sent out hundreds of requests because he was in the industry. He represents some really. If you look him up, Bruce Colfin, the company.
I think I know who he is. Yeah.
The company's called The Firm, thefirm.com. You can see the people that he represented. So that didn't lead to anything, but it's not that, to me, it's not a mistake because I don't believe in the word mistake. You just got to do whatever it is, and that's just part of the process.
That's right. That's exactly.
Thomas Edison, you've heard about him, right?
I don't think some cultures, some Indian cultures, I don't think they have words like mistake, So there's no such, I don't want to think about negative things like that. So I just keep doing. Because you got to keep trying. It says it right in the Bible. You got to keep testing.
You fall, you get right back up, and you keep on moving. That's exactly
testing until you find
fall again. You get back up again. You
keep going. And so after that, I guess we're past the 90s and we're in the year 2000, and I get another really cool opportunity because I'm an NYU guy, NYU graduate.
Right.
And my NYU advisor says, we're going to go to Romania and we're going to perform some music over there with an orchestra. I says, really? He says, okay. And he says, because it was his 70th birthday celebration at NYU. And I went, and his name was Dinu Getsu. He passed away, sadly. But he invited me to come. And I said, oh, really? Okay, so I went there in 2005 with an orchestra piece. It was the Constanța, Romania, in the Opera House in Constanța. And then I said, you know what? I want to come next year too, because I want to perform The Most Beautiful Lady in the World, the orchestra version. And because for one thing, it would only cost me about $2,700. And if I had to do that in America, it would cost me $27,000.
Yeah.
I says, where am I ever going to get that opportunity? So I had everything. I got everything ready, all the music. you know, got all the score, the parts, the whole thing. Because I was actually writing all these things ahead of time in the years before.
Right.
So I actually wrote an orchestra version several years before. I was like getting ready, you know. It didn't matter that there wasn't nobody going to play, but who knows? So okay. So what happened was, so I had all the music ready. That's why you always have to get ready, you know. Like opportunity, you know, comes after you get ready, not before.
Right.
So, so I went there and they performed on October the 27th, which is one day before the Statue of Liberty's birthday. And how ironic is that?
It is very ironic, yeah.
So it's such a coincidence that she got this other birthday present on the day before her birthday. And they performed the song in Constanța, Romania, with the orchestra from the Opera House, the Lyric Opera of Constanța. And so it was the world premiere of the orchestra version with a tenor, a choir, a big choir, and a full symphonic orchestra. And it was super cool. You know, it was like,
Sounds like it is, yeah.
it was the last piece that they played on the concert. You know what happened at the end of the song? Everybody stood up and gave it a standing ovation.
Oh, that's beautiful.
And my teacher told my friend that there wasn't a dry eye in the whole place, you know, because they must have resonated a real big chord in them, because, you know,
Sure.
they were suffering under communism for most of their lives. And here I was bringing them a Statue of Liberty anthem. You know, that probably uplifted them and really meant something to them.
Yeah.
So, so I have now a beautiful orchestral recording, and I figure, okay, now I have something even more.
Mhm.
Because it's really a classic piece of music, this piece of music. Even though you could sing it in elementary schools. By the way, my friend Barbara Shaddis, who teaches up north in elementary schools, she's been teaching her kids this song and another song, America the Great, to her elementary school teachers for about 20 years. There's a whole generation of kids that know this song up north. And so the song now has to be, I guess, continue to find its way to become official. And we figured out certain things. First, we need another bill, which Andy Kim says he will reintroduce. You know, Andy Kim, the congressman.
Yeah. Mhm.
And I've been working with him for a couple summers now, a couple years, and he's not ready to introduce it. But at the same time, Paul discovered another way to actually complete this. Gene?
So I'm like I'm the lyricist and I'm the research guy, right?
Right.
So, you know, I was doing some research and I came across this information, and that you probably never heard of, and most Americans never heard of, and my brother never heard of it, of course. And I didn't know about it either until I researched it. And that is, have you heard of the Star Spangled Banner?
Sure, absolutely.
And what is the Star Spangled Banner?
It's just our anthem. It's
Anthem of the United States, right?
Right.
You know how it became the anthem?
Francis Scott Key, and I remember a lot of that stuff.
Right, but do you know how the Star Spangled Banner became the national anthem?
No, I don't.
Okay, well, in 1913, have you heard of Woodrow Wilson, the guy from Monmouth University?
Yes.
He introduced a presidential executive order that stated this song, the Star Spangled Banner, should be the official anthem of the United States. You understand?
So he just said it, and it became.
Well,
almost. It was an executive order.
Yeah, but you would have thought it would have happened immediately, right?
Yeah.
I don't know what happened, but
it has to go through the Congress.
Right.
And that's what it did. For the next 15 years, it went through the Congress, and then it was signed as the official anthem by law to the Congress.
So the point here is, what we need is our president to introduce a presidential executive order that states the most beautiful lady in the world should be the official anthem of the Statue of Liberty, because it was written by immigrants. It was offered to her on her birthday, And that's all. And that's what we need. Now we have a letter of support in 1988. You know, with all the letters we were getting from congressmen, governors, senators,
It's in that kit.
it's in the kit.
Yeah.
In 1988, you know, Donald Trump sent us a letter of support stating that, you know, he supports what we're doing.
Saw that.
We saw that. And so now he's president, but he could introduce an executive order if we could get to him. But, you know, you can't penetrate the buffers. You know what I'm saying? It's not like the old days where you could,
I know.
you could,
I know
you could
exactly
get
what
to
you're
them.
saying.
You can't get to anybody today. Now,
Right here.
now, you know, so now, you know, and of course,
There's more than
we
just-
we also have the support of Joe Biden as well. There's a few letters from him because, you know, and so whoever wins the election, you know, we're going to keep pursuing, you know. I
Good for
mean,
you.
it should have been done by now by Donald Trump in these 4 years. But like I said, we have not been able to get to him. You know what I'm saying? It's really difficult. It's not like the older days. And, you know, it's funny because, you know, 1986, December of 86, Joe Biden, he was the commencement speaker at Westchester University, where I went to college
Mhm.
and graduated. I graduated in 1987.
Right.
Because they said Wilmington, Delaware is only 30 minutes south of Westchester University in Westchester, Pennsylvania.
Right.
And maybe, I don't know, you know, it's, you know, but you understand what, you know, the point here is that, you know, there is another way to get this through besides
Well,
introducing a bill and everything, but you know, and you had to keep at it. My
Yeah.
brother wants to.
This-
Right. Good.
it's just another approach. You get an executive order, it still goes through the Congress. Or you go through the Congress first, and then you get to the president. It's just how how laws are made.
Right.
But that we thought that's something new that we didn't know. I didn't know about that.
Well, I like the fact that you have both political parties or the representative for each political party, as it can go either way. But the biggest thing, of course, is your hurdle trying to get to them, even though they said they would help you, trying to get to them and show them that they can help you is the difference.
They never said they would help us. They just support us in our.
Well, no, but support is help. If I tell you I'm going to support you, I'm helping you, right? Support is help because you're helping support whatever it is you're doing.
For example, Biden, when he wrote to us, he actually took the time to write to the National Park Service, the Department of the Interior, endorsing this song to become the official anthem of the Statue of Liberty. He didn't realize that there was no such selection committee, but he thought that there was, and he wrote to them. He took the extra step. You know, that's what politicians used to do. They would take these extra steps to help people, even if they didn't live in their state, but they wrote to them.
That's an interesting point. That's an interesting point.
So Biden did that. I mean, that's what I think. To me, it was a really great thing. However, to get to Mr. Biden, eventually, if he's the next president, he'll probably have as many buffers as President Trump, and we won't be able to speak to him either.
But I don't believe in that. You know, maybe it's, you know how my father used to tell me, you cannot escape your destiny, right? So maybe it's destined for Biden because the song was actually composed in Delaware, in Wilmington. So maybe it's destined for him to make a presidential executive order. I don't know. I don't have my crystal ball here in the room with me, you know, so I can't really look into crystal ball and tell you. You know what I'm saying? All I can tell you is that we're going to keep at it. And if Biden does win, I know that that we're going to get to him and he will make this presidential executive order. And if Trump wins, then, you know, we're going to keep at it to try to get him to do it. You know what I'm saying?
Right. Now, but let me just interrupt you guys here real quick. First of all, our hour's up. I hate to say that, but I really enjoyed this. This was a monumental, you know, no quit. I'm just going to stay in there and I'm going to make this happen type of thing. And I think you guys will make it happen. I know you will, because you got that in your heart. And I know God wants it to happen too.
Amen. You know, there's different versions, right? Besides the operatic version.
Yeah, I know. And that's what I wanted to ask Helmut where all the versions are.
Oh, if you want, I'll send you the MP3s. You can also listen to them on my SoundCloud, Helmut Calabrese. And I actually have a video of the orchestra version on my YouTube channel.
Okay.
Calabrese. I found a really great video from somebody made the drone video of the Statue of Liberty, so it matches up perfectly. But you
Okay.
can hear the other versions on SoundCloud, the 1986 version, the 1991 version, and the 2006 version.
So which one do you recommend the most?
The 2006,
Because that's all enhanced. Everything's a little bit better.
that's an orchestral version. It's a classic version.
Beautiful.
Like
But,
listening.
see, I like the one I'm singing, of course, you know. The orchestral version, of course. I didn't go to Romania.
No, I understand.
I'm not an opera singer. I'm just the regular Joe singing, you know.
Well,
I'm like the Italian guy in the shower, you know what I'm saying?
Well, he changed all the vocals to what, the choir? Is that what you said?
well, I created the choir version. You create a section. The chorus sings the choir,
Mm-hmm.
and basically it's in a six. The choir is divided into 6 voices. If you know about anything about music, it's
Yes, I
called
do. Mm-hmm.
2 sopranos, 2 altos, a tenor, a bass, and a baritone, and then you have the solo part at the very beginning with the tenor, and so it's just a beautiful song. I think it represents itself best as an orchestra, as a light classical piece.
Right.
But it's simple enough that you could sing it in an elementary school, because I actually made versions for elementary school kids, and I put it on J.W. Pepper, and I also put it on Subito Music. Subito Music is a company, a music publisher in New Jersey, in Verona, I think.
Okay.
And J.W. Pepper is a big online company from Philadelphia.
And your business is Helmut Calabrese?
HelmutCalabrese.com.
Okay.
And that music, my website is for people that I'm trying to create a film scoring business. So if you need original music for your film or your TV or your advertisement.
Because he's actually done a film score in Italy, you know.
Yeah, so I've actually done 2 film scores, 2 feature film scores, and about a dozen short films. I've done this pretty recently, you know. Now that I'm free from the pizzeria, I can pursue a career in music.
Right.
I've actually, oh, by the way, I actually wrote an orchestral arrangement for a song called Teddy Bear, which is going to be released on October the 24th. I think that's tomorrow.
Okay. Yeah, it is tomorrow. Yeah.
And the company that releases it is called Bentley Music. It's an independent record company from New York.
Okay.
The vocalist is a very famous superstar singer. Her name is Tina Carroll, Karol.
Okay.
And she is famous. She's like a Whitney Houston in her country, except she's a beautiful lady. And she's going to introduce the song because her song is called Teddy Bear. Teddy Bear, and she's introduced a few other songs. Teddy Bear is the one that I did the orchestra. And she wants to become a star here in America.
Okay.
And when you hear, if you look her up on YouTube, you can see that she has a beautiful voice. You know, not as many American songs, English songs now, but that's her hope, you know.
Okay. Well, we'll see what we can do, guys. I mean, you know, I don't promise things. No. I just say, you know, if a couple of my friends are watching or seeing this, maybe there's something they can do to help push it. Maybe they're closer to Donald Trump. Maybe they're closer to Joe Biden. I don't know that. But if there's something that you guys can do at any point, not you guys, I'm talking to people out there.
Even if people,
the ones that are listening, go ahead.
Yeah, some people who are in this business, who are industry heavyweights like Mr. Springsteen or Mr. Bon Jovi.
I'm not even talking about them guys, because I'm talking about sharks from Shark Tank. I'm talking about Anthony Robbins, people that have a lot of significance with already these power political people. That's what you need. The musicians are one thing. Their political stance is one thing. But when you have a power political person that's on either one side or the other, which doesn't matter to you, doesn't matter to me either, as long as the song gets out there and people know about it. It's the idea that, are they in the right place at the right time? See, you can know a millionaire, billionaire, trillionaire, and all these other things, but you gotta get to the people that hang with these people. You got to get past that barrier, and a lot of the people that I am friends with are like that. they can get past that barrier. Oh, I know somebody that knows him. I'll talk to him, tomorrow night at a press conference or something.
Oh.
And, they'll see what they can do. But I, don't know if that's going to happen. I mean, it can happen if we say it's going to happen. It can happen as long as we believe it's going to happen. And it can happen as long as everything's in the right way, stars are in the right way. What you guys have gone through is an amazing journey. And I hope the people that listened at home are really excited, because I am, for you guys. I'm going to be playing that song right next. So if you're listening to it on Hamilton Radio, you will hear it. I will be Johnny wanted me to play the song on here. I can't play it on Facebook. Facebook will block it and it'll shut the show down. I don't want to do that.
Okay.
I can only play it on Hamilton Radio. So if everybody's tuned into hamiltonradio.net or hamiltonradios.com, channel 1, they will hear the song. Now that's for my military listening audience. That's for all the people that listen every day. That's for people that I have a show coming up at 3:00 called Crystal Cavern, which is the influence of an artist plus the song that they was influenced by. And of course, that's in the UK. That's in London, England, Ireland, Italy, Sweden, everywhere.
Wow.
Australia. And that is going to be a huge show. So what I'm going to do before that show starts, I'm going to make an announcement about your stuff. And I'm going to say, if people want to get in touch with me, they know how to do it. Email me. I'm at admin, at hamiltonradio.net. If you have an idea for these guys, give me an email, a comment, suggestions, anything. Or if you know somebody that you think that can help them, email me and I'll get it to them. admin at hamiltonradio.net. So I want to thank you guys for coming. I hope we got all the things out that you really wanted to get done, because I know it's important to get that information out there to people about your song and all the stuff you went through. And of course, your pizza place, with COVID and everything, I don't know what's going to happen to a lot of businesses. All I can wish you well,
all we can do is plant the seed.
That's all we're doing, man.
Yeah. And my brother wants
I wanted to tell you the last. I just remembered Robert Singer, who is the state senator in New Jersey. He just introduced a bill in the state Senate for making the song official song for the Statue of Liberty, and it'd be really a good stepping stone if the people within our own legislature would take this serious and pass that measure, that bill in the state Senate, because then it would show support from the people of the citizens, state of New Jersey,
Right, absolutely.
Even though it's one state out of 50, but one is better than none,
Right.
That support of everybody to pass that measure that's in the state. You can look it up. It's most Statue of Liberty Anthem, state of New Jersey, January 2020. I forget.
Just Google that and it should find it. Right.
Robert Singer. Senator Singer.
Okay. Thank you guys. Thanks again for your time. And again, I wish you both luck to your endeavor. And I hope, it works out for us, the American people, and you guys.
Well, I'll send you emails about if we make any progress in different parts of this, And
like I said, I have friends that are Beach Boys. In fact, I talked not too long ago to Bobby Figueroa, who was an immigrant that became a drummer for the Beach Boys when Dennis Wilson, the drummer, wanted to go out and do stuff. And he's been been a Beach Boy for over 20, 30 years. And he is a very patriotic American, cares about this country. And he's a great, great guy to know. A lot of my musician friends are like that. Listen, I know I'm going to say this. We met Eddie Money before he passed away. Eddie Money was a great patriot, a great guy, and a wonderful person that we met about 2 years before he died. And I think if Eddie Money had a chance to get a hold of this, he would have did something. He would have did something for you, because he's that kind of person, that caring, that loving. And of course, he was from Staten Island, New York. And I get a tear in my eye thinking about it. I wish you maybe reached out to somebody like that. Springsteen, Bon Jovi, they're great guys, but they've got their own lives, and Eddie Money it would do anything for anybody. I mean, he was that kind of guy, and I guess I get a tear in my eye when I think about it because he was just an awesome person.
Who was Eddie Money? I don't know the guy.
Eddie Money was a big musician, started out in the 70s. And he created a lot of different songs. Two Ticket to Paradise, Baby Hold On. And if you aren't into pop music or rock music, you wouldn't know who he is. But he's a big center stage for a lot of the musicians. And he was a tremendous person. And his family now is doing recording. He has a daughter, he has a son that's on drums, another son that plays the bass, one plays guitar, and his one son, Des Money, is under him, and they're all tremendous musicians. They really are. They learn from their dad, but they're jazz, rock, a little bit of everything in their music.
Don't forget to listen to my version, okay?
Yeah, he's got to send it to me.
I'm gonna send you that.
Send me all the versions, all right?
You want the MP3s or the WAV?
All MP3s.
MP3s, okay, sure.
Yeah, I tell everybody, if you're going to send me, so I just had my friend from Karma Frog send me all his CDs. Now I got to rip every CD, but it's so much easier if you just send me the MP3s, because then what I can do is I could just upload them and they're there. They're cataloged. The other ones I got to write down. I got to take the time to do. It's like 20 CDs I got to do.
Oh.
So, all right, guys, I'll talk to you later. Have a good one.
Well, if I were there, I'd do them. I help you out and do them for you.
It's a lot of work. It's a lot of work.
Thanks for having us on your show there.
I appreciate it's been an honor to meet you and to be
an honor as well, guys.
This famous show here, and it's awesome.
Thank you so much. I'm going to play your music now so all the other people can hear it. Okay.
Keep in touch with us if whenever you want.
And if you hear anything breaking, let me know. We'll make it as a news thing or something. All right.
All right.
Take care, guys.
I wanted to say thank you to John Christoph.
Johnny. Yeah.
For helping to introduce us to you.
Johnny C's a great guy. I love Johnny.
He loves people and he loves helping people.
And that's why me and him get along so well, because we're the same way. We like helping people too. So
yeah. Thank God.
Thank you, man.
God bless you, Gene.
Bye-bye, Paul and Chris. Bye-bye.
Bye.